Good evening, Atlanta. This is Attorney Frank Padron again at Virguez Law. I want to welcome you for another night of a personal injury discussion, right? Injury discussion, Georgia law discussion, and I want to thank you all for being here tonight to discuss these issues, right? Tonight, what I have prepared is vicarious liability. It's a really a term of art under the law, right? And I kind of want to explain what that means because it has a lot of importance in the area of negligence in general, right? And so, what does that actually mean? Let's go over. I know vicarious can sometimes be a intimidating word, so let's just dissect what that means. First of all, vicarious, to be vicarious is to live through someone, to kind of like experience one's sensations through experience one's sensations, right? So you're living like indirectly through someone, right? And so vicarious liability, and how that applies really is that what that means is that someone can be held accountable for the actions of another person, right? Typically, you see that in the most common place is during a employer-employee relationships, right? Or agent, master and agent relationships as well, right? So basically, when someone's directing another person to do something, right, the person who's doing the directing can be held accountable for the actions of the person who's doing the thing, right? So let's give you, a simple example that, you can put this into practice. And the example that I always use is the pizza delivery driver, right? You have, let's say you have the driver, Tom, right, who's driving, delivering pizzas. That's what he does for a living and all the rest, but he's employed by Domino's, let's say, right? If it wasn't for Domino's actions, right? Domino's commercials, Domino's internet page, right? You're ordering the pizza through Domino's website. You're not talking to Tom directly, who's making the pizza from his house, right? And delivering that pizza to you. You're actually calling Domino's, right? And Domino's is employing this person, Tom, to send this pizza out and to be delivered, right? So if it wasn't for Domino's, this person, Tom, would presumably have another job, would not be out in the streets delivering pizzas, right? And so that's what the way the law kind of it gives it the certain rationalization, certain logic as to why Domino's would be liable. Because it wasn't for Domino's, Tom would be out on the street delivering pizzas, and so Domino's has some kind of responsibility, right? So obviously, you would think it would be preposterous if, for example, Domino were to employ Tom, and Tom had 5 DUIs in the last year, right? That's a big deal. It's a big concern. So, I mean, there you would not just be talking vicarious liability where, Tom, even if he was an upstanding citizen with a great record, he would still be Domino's would still be responsible through vicarious liability. But you could even get further causes of actions like negligent hiring, for example, if this person, Tom, had 5 DUIs on his record. So you could have a separate cause of action just against Domino's for a negligent hiring case, for example, right? So those are all things that you want to consider. But I mean, basically going back to our previous example, if Tom didn't have DUIs and was just cause an accident by mistake, it happens to everyone, right? It doesn't mean that you would just be limited by however deep Tom's pockets are, right? You would also go through Domino's, right? Their, whatever their insurance policy is, right? And they would be on the hook, so to speak, as well for the actions caused by Tom, right? And the logic of this is like the logic of a lot of tort law in general is for the benefit of the public, right? I mean, a lot of people have this very negative perception of plaintiff lawyers, of injured people, and all the rest. But in the end, really, what happens as a result of the actions of plaintiff attorneys and the injuries that are caused by the injuries that are suffered by victims is that they make a safer, more reasonable environment, right? So, for example, I've given this example before at Walmart. If you have dirty aisles where people are prone to get injured, right? Well, Walmart in particular wouldn't have any incentive to really clean up if it wasn't for people suing them, right? And that way you can have actually a safer environment as a result, right? I mean, even from the standpoint of doctors and medical malpractice suits, right? The reason why doctors want to be extra careful whenever they're attending to a patient is because there's always that lingering thought of a lawsuit behind them, right? And so the aim of tort law, the aim of plaintiff attorneys really is to improve the safety of the public, right, and hold people accountable for their actions. And so vicarious liability is a really great way to actually demonstrate that and put that on point because people that are out on the street, right, that at the direction of other people can still be those actors, the big, big corporations and all the rest. They can still be held accountable for the actions of their employees whenever they injure someone, and so that's good because, quite frankly, if someone has going to have life-altering, serious injuries, and the big corporations shouldn't be able to evade responsibility, right, whenever they initiated those actions, and should actually be able to help people that are injured as a result of their actions. And so it's an equitable kind of thing. It's a concept of American law that's been there for 200 plus years. So it's a very common sense belief in the American system, and it's something that I think that we should all be proud of. So, anyways, that's my discussion on vicarious liability. Again, my name is Frank Padron. I'm an attorney at Virguez Law. You can find us on all social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, everything that you can imagine. And you can also give us a call at 678-300-0000. Thank you very much.